Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jefe Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jefe Hop, Jeff Hopkins. We have a very special episode today. It's Super Bowl week, Brady versus Mahomes, once-in-a-lifetime matchup. So you know we at Jefe Sports had to bring out the heavy hitters for this episode. We got the Pancake Machine, Paris Johnson Jr., Mr. Showtime himself, Sean Clifford, Dr. J, Ben Jones, and my homie Jefe Jaden Woodard. What's up, fellas?
What's good?
What's up?
What up, boys? Y'all, it's Super Bowl week, man. I don't know about y'all, but I am so excited for this, man. We got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida. The first time ever a host city has their team participating in a Super Bowl. And man, Ben, we got to start with you, my guy. I'm so excited for this. I know you're excited for this, being one of the Mahomes boys, seeing your guys back in the Super Bowl again, man. What's this like for you?
For sure, yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely way different than it was last year because last year I felt like we were just proving to ourselves, like, you know, the Chiefs have had a long history of failing in the playoffs and in the regular season too. So to really get past that hump and really get to the pinnacle was really cool. And this year to be able to run it back would be amazing. Very few teams have gone back to back for the Super Bowl. So it's a different type of excitement, I think. And you can tell with the players, they feel that too. So it's exciting. Obviously, Mahomes versus Brady is crazy. So we'll see what happens, but I feel good about it for sure.
Yeah, man, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. It's so good to see my homeboy back. But Jaden, I'm gonna throw it to you, man. You're a big Brady guy. What's this like seeing the GOAT back in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically traditional at this point. I mean, 10 Super Bowls, right? Like, it's crazy that 2 years ago we were sitting here like, oh, is it Brady? Is it the system? Is it Belichick? Like, what's keeping all these things intact? And this year, last March, during all the pandemic what was going on, we were able to see Brady transition to the Bucs. And it was like, all right, like us fans are finally getting an answer. Let's see if it works out. Tampa Bay provided the weapons, a decent coaching staff. It's not anything exceptional in my opinion. And he gave it time to figure out. Good record, went about 11-5. They won 7 straight. And I mean, look what he's doing. It's Tom versus time. Tom continues to beat time at 43. He said 45. I'm feeling he can go to 48 or 50.
I don't know about 45, 48, man. If you're looking at him right now, his arm looks like Jello out there, bro. I don't know about all that. But we'll get to that later. So first off, I want to congratulate Paris and Sean on 2 tremendous seasons. Paris, I'll start with you, man. Just finished up your freshman year. The Buckeyes got all the way to the national championship game, came up a little bit short versus Alabama Crimson Tide, but it was a great feat nonetheless, man. Tell me, what was this first year like for you?
I would say it was a good first season. It was definitely, a lot of learning, a new system, but, great coaches and great teammates around that just, a good, like, family environment. I feel like that's what, like, propelled us there through all the cancellations and everything that we had and all the players out. So overall, I would say it was a great season.
Yeah, man, it was. But I'm going to ask you something, bro. So I was looking at the semifinal game versus Clemson, and I saw Theron Mumford was in your ear right before you're about to go in. Man, what was he saying to you?
Oh, okay, yeah. So, like, right before we went out there, like, like, I don't know, him and Josh Myers, they were both like, P, like, you've been doing this all year in practice, whatever, like, it's cool. Just do what you usually do. There's no need to switch it up. So at that point, I was just hyping myself up. At that point, I was trying to get my mind right. You feel me? Because I was on the sideline for 2 quarters. So, but yeah, it was cool though. Just and like that right there is the brotherhood. Like, they weren't stressing or anything, and them not stressing. It allowed me just to play how I usually do and just have fun with it.
Yep. And bro, you had way too much fun on one play, man. I remember. I don't know if it was the first play or the second play, but man, you had a big pancake block. It even got featured on ESPN by the Hall of Famer Jeff Saturday, man. Take me through that play, man, because once I saw you do that, you were like, ooh, man. Tell me about that play.
Yeah, so it was the second play because the first play was a pass play, and and I really don't rep guard like that, but like now I understand it. But like the first play, like the 2 defense linemen on our play, like they like drop backwards. So I'm looking around like my first play, and they're running some crazy stuff. So that was just me just getting my feet wet. But the second play is when I was like, all right, like, this is on TV, Paris. Like, come on, let's go. I don't know how many plays I'm gonna have. So I'm thinking I need to hit something real quick. So I don't know. I just checked the hip of the nose guard and just ran up to the linebacker. And then I just took him with me. And like once I like felt him like starting to his feet falling underneath him, I was like, I'm gonna keep going on this one. Just to, at least once. I told myself like at least once. Yeah. I felt like it was a big moment, not for myself, but just like for my like mom too, who was watching it, because like that was the first thing I was thinking about was, like what she's thinking of with like me being out here, and if anything, just protecting Justin. You know what I mean? It got to a point where it's like, what's the point of like tripping about this being really my first time actually getting real time in? I'm like, I got somebody behind me who's trying to keep playing. So I'm like, I'm gonna just go. But I don't know, it was a crazy fit. Like, I was doing the flex and whatever. I had a flashback to high school for a split second, but then I had to snap out of it because I had to get the next play call because we were running tempo. But, it was cool. It was cool.
Cliff, have you ever had a moment like that in your career where you had to step up kind of unexpectedly and just take over the game?
I mean, for me, I feel like it's different, just like positional. I mean, like PJ is one of those guys, I have mad respect for just because, I mean, he's an lineman. He never gets love. Like
the big uglies.
It's rare where somebody just goes crazy like that. So it's cool to see him, especially a guy from the city, step up and make a big play. But I mean, at quarterback, you just get so many opportunities to throw a touchdown, rush one, make big plays. So I mean, it's tough to like recall just one. But yeah, no, I think that it's cool that Paris, within the first two plays really made a name for himself and started to, solidify himself into that role.
So, Sean, it was a roller coaster of a season for you guys at Penn State. You started out hearing that your All-American linebacker, Micah Parsons, would not be playing with y'all this season. Y'all had a new OC and QB coach trying to put in a new system with a condensed offseason with basically a team full of freshmen and sophomores. And, you guys didn't start out well, but really in the second half of the season, you guys showed a lot of resolve, a lot of toughness. And in your last 4 games specifically, you guys won all 4 of them and you threw for 7 touchdowns. So can you talk a little bit about what that turning point in the season was for you and how you really turned things around for the Penn State and Nittany Lions?
Yeah, I thought that we just did a good job of just making sure that we stayed the course. The preseason really didn't go our way. From injuries and opt-outs. And then really the first couple of games didn't really go our way just because we had so many injuries early. And just installing the new offense, a lot of different moving parts behind the scenes that just made the season a little bit more difficult than we thought it would be. And then dealing with COVID obviously is going to be tough, but everybody's doing that. So I was just glad more so that our guys made sure that we just stayed the course, got that win up in Ann Arbor and then kind of took it from there, got back on our feet and won out, kind of catapulting us into this next season where we have a lot of high hopes and, we're a very hungry team now. It's no longer, everybody's on our side. We're kind of in the shadows and we kind of like that, honestly. So, we're returning a bunch of, young, fantastic players. And, I think that we're going to definitely make a name for ourselves early.
Yeah. And I know just from looking at social media, a lot of people are coming for your neck, Sean. So is there a little bit of added incentive going into this offseason for you?
I think that every year, you just have a chip on your shoulder. I don't really pay attention to what everybody on the outside's saying. I've never been somebody who needs, love and affection from fans. Fans are going to be fans. They're fans for a reason. They're fanatics. And I say it all the time, like, I'd rather them be, super excited and super passionate about the sport than just not care at all. So, I appreciate all the love, the hate, whatever you got to bring. But at the same time, we're going to grind, we're going to do what we do. And, it doesn't really matter what anyone's got to say about it.
I like that. So you guys got a new OC from Texas, man. Tell me a little bit about him. Have you gotten a chance to work with him yet? And what's your relationship like with him?
Yeah, he just got in, so it's kind of new. I mean, he just got here 2 weeks ago, so I'm excited. He's got a really good track record. This is my fourth OC that I've had, fourth position coach, and a lot of people would say, "Oh, that's gotta be tough." Getting new turnover all the time, but at the same time, I always think of it as a blessing just because I've gotten to really learn from four great offensive minds. Guys that run purely spread, they go, they tempo. Some guys, like last year we were kind of more in a base. It really just depends on the OC, but everybody's got their own little wrinkle. And I feel like I've kind of been able to formulate my thought process and what I like, what I don't like, behind these past three guys. And Coach Ursich has been a really good mind so far, just to learn from, keep growing. We're installing already, so we're definitely excited just to see what he's got to bring to the table.
That's what's up, man. Good luck to both of y'all in the coming months. I know there's about to be the off-season workouts. Those are always fun. So good luck with that, y'all boys. But now let's get to this game, man. So like we said, we got Brady versus Mahomes. And Ben, I'm going to throw it to you first, man. What is this game going to be like for their careers and their names after this game?
Well, I mean, with Brady, obviously his greatness is established, and like no one can really dispute that he's obviously has the greatest resume in the NFL history. Like, I saw something this week that was like, if you split his career in half, he would still be arguably the GOAT, which is crazy to think about. And so I think really on Mahomes' side, it sounds so weird to say that at 25, it's almost a career defining, well, not a career defining, but a greatness defining moment for him, where if he can beat Brady, you can start thinking about the path that he would have to take to get towards him and to get towards that greatness. But if Brady beats him, obviously that's kind of a nail in the coffin if you win your seventh and all of the stuff like that. So I think it's kind of crazy to talk about just two quarterbacks that are playing at such a high level too currently. I mean, Brady's not playing like he's 43 at all. He's playing really good football. So two great quarterbacks, that have a lot of trophies and will continue to. So it's an exciting matchup for sure.
Yeah. PJ, what you think, bro? Do you think this is a make or break for his career so far?
No, I mean, for Mahomes,
yeah.
I think this would really elevate his career so far, because I mean, I think his resume is already great. He's a young quarterback and he's already, and have the chance to go back to back is already huge. But I think, he beats Brady. I think that does like stamp him for just for him to continue to have a legendary career.
I'm going to throw this to everybody now. So Shannon Sharp came on his show and he said, if Mahomes loses this game, then there's no way that he's going to catch Brady. What do y'all think about that?
The way I look at it is not necessarily the Mahomes-Brady, like purely head-to-head. It's Brady's won 10 Super Bowls. So, and he's won 6. So you're going to, well, then he would win 7, assuming they win. If you're going to beat Brady, you're going to have to go to like around 8 or 9 and win about 7 or 8. So I agree kind of what Paris said. I don't think it's really a career-defining moment yet. I mean, at 25, he's still got a long way to go. That big contract's going to be paying him for that long way to go, so he better figure something out. But I think it's the beginning. I think it's just really cool how it could be like the changing of the guards in terms of like the best quarterback in the league for sure. But in terms of like, is it all said and done at 25? I don't think so. I also don't think he's going to go to 8 more Super Bowls, but I could be wrong.
Interesting. Sean, what do you think, man? You got Mahomes, rising star. Is this the passing of the guard for you if he wins?
I can't say it's the passing of the guard. Not how Tom Brady's been playing, just from a quarterback perspective, I just see currently two great quarterbacks going head to head. And I like the idea of, passing of the guard, kind of welcoming in the new, as Mahomes, like you said, only 25 years old, already having so much success. But at the same time, I mean, you can't downplay what Tom Brady's doing right now. I mean, it is legendary what he's doing. It's honestly potentially could never be seen again. He's, like Jaden said, I mean, he's literally taken one franchise, gone the distance, done everything in the Patriots franchise that they're known about. He is the Patriots franchise. And then, all right, now people are questioning him, coming on, saying, all right, I don't think he could do it. Just pops into Tampa Bay, like no big deal. And what people don't understand about like football from an outside perspective is that quarterback, it's not like Tom Brady is just not like the craziest athlete. He's not he's making plays. Like, I'm not saying he's not, but like there's so much behind the scenes where you can just tell that his leadership is unmatched, because you come into a new place, you put together this team with a head coach, like who was it? Was it Ben who said that the coaching is just not what he not exceptional. He wouldn't call it Belichick style, but at the same time, I mean, he is still just transforming an organization. I mean, that in itself is unbelievable. I mean, Tampa Bay, when was the last time they even stepped foot in the playoffs? I don't even know.
Shoot.
Like, I really can't tell you. And then in his first year, he's in the Super Bowl. I mean, guys, I mean, if that's not legendary GOAT status, I don't know what is. And at the NFL level, he's making it seem like he's still just like a young bull just playing. But he's really just, I mean, that's what impresses me most is not that he's still doing it. Yeah, that's super impressive, but it's what he's doing behind the scenes that we can't see, because I mean Tampa Bay looks like they've been together for years, but they literally just put this program together, this franchise together. So I think that's what's most impressive to me is just that Tom Brady is doing it at a high level at such an old age. And then on the other hand of being a quarterback, Patrick Mahomes is now, I mean, starting a legendary resume in itself. I mean, I'm not going to downplay that. And you can't really say like, all right, we're going to try to catch up to Tom Brady, I feel like, because I mean, you can't catch up to Tom Brady. I mean, even if he does catch up to Tom Brady, it's still like, then it'll be Mahomes's like legend, because Tom Brady is on a different level. Like he already is. So I don't know. I just have so much respect for both teams and both quarterbacks. And I'm just excited as a fan of football. I'm just excited to watch the game.
How does somebody get as great as Brady? Like you mentioned some of the stuff that he does behind the scenes, but like, I mean, years and years after taking hits, like how is somebody like him, and like we see it with LeBron in basketball, how are they able to just keep their bodies right and their minds and just be so successful? Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, I think it comes down to consistency, especially for the quarterback position, just because, I mean, you can take hits and, you're going to go through injuries and things are going to happen. Flukes are going to happen. But for him, he's kind of just stayed the course the whole time. Like even, like he doesn't miss a lot of games. Which is impressive for him. The trainers who work with him, just everybody around him, who he surrounds himself with is just super impressive. And then just the way that he's doing it. I mean, he's at the top of the leaderboards in pretty much every stat, but at the same time, like he's distributing the ball across the board. There's not one guy on Tampa Bay that's just taking over. You see different guys every single week. It's if it's not Mike Evans, it's Chris Godwin. If it's not Chris Godwin, it's Gronkowski. Ronald Jones playing at running back is, yep. I mean, he's super impressive, and it's all of them playing together is really what's kind of it shows what Tom Brady does, because he did it in New England with, I mean, loads of different players there. And then you see it too, like the difference with, I feel like football with basketball, I'm not trying to downplay LeBron whatsoever, but I mean, LeBron, I mean, if they need 10 points, he can put up 10 points real quick. In football, if you're down 10, you need the defense. And like, the thing is, like, it just looks like they're playing so together. Like Tom Brady really, and I'm sure, there's a lot of leaders on that team that contribute to that. but it's just like the meshing of everything, especially in the pros, with money getting involved and contracts and who's in, who's out. People are getting fired left and right. And it's just like always tough. I like to see in the league how that works, like that dynamic of family, because it's tough to have a family in the league because the guy next to you could be out the door the next day,
Right.
like in the snap of a finger. So I think it's cool how you watch them, especially their defense now, getting some of their players back from injury, and I just think that it's super impressive what Tampa Bay is doing. Not downplaying anything from Kansas City, but just
sure.
super impressive by Tampa Bay.
For sure, I agree. Paris, you're a great leader. You've been around great leaders in your playing career, man. How much respect do you have for Tom Brady?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree with Sean that Tom Brady's a different type of leader because again, I feel like I don't think about it from that quarterback perspective. Like it is pretty impressive to go into a pro. I mean, I for sure when he went to Tampa Bay, I thought he was like, he's not really caring about trying to get to a Super Bowl. He might just want a different coaching environment, a culture environment that was maybe a little more relaxed. I wasn't expecting to get to the Super Bowl when he first. I mean, that was my immediate mindset when he went to Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. But it does show how much of a leader he is, and to pull together the program because, like Sean said, he's nowhere near as physical as as like strong and as athletic as he was when he first came in. When he first came in, he wasn't much of an athlete, to be quite honest with you, compared to other quarterbacks in the league. So he had a different type of edge to him. But I mean, yeah, like to have like those like leaders in the program, it like really makes a difference. Like up here, like I could say like that's what like drove us to where we went as the leaders. You know what I mean? Just being around.
I think too, just one other thing with that is just the thing about at least what I've learned is like everybody's gonna be different, and you can compare it to anything really. So like if Jeff and I are in the same math class, right? And Jeff's smarter than me in math, but we both have an A. But Jeff might, he might work 30 minutes on a math test or something, and he gets a 95, and I got to work 5 hours, but I get a 95. I compare that the same way to football. Like Tom Brady, I mean, from a physical perspective, Mahomes is, crazy athlete, crazy quarterback, has a rocket for an arm. So the things that Mahomes might be able to do, he might not have to put in I'm not saying at all, don't quote me on that Mahomes isn't a hard worker, but I'm saying that Brady, I feel like whenever he gets on the field, he knows that he's already put in the allotted, like he knows his time that he needs. So I don't know exactly what that is, but it's crazy to me that each week he comes in prepared as the last week, and he's been doing it for 18 seasons now. So that might mean that, he might be really putting in a full 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock shift at night, and we just don't know it. But it doesn't matter for him because it's just, like I said, the consistency, and he's done it every single week for 18 seasons, and it just blows my mind how consistent and well tuned he is still.
Ben, I'm gonna throw it to you, future doctor. When you look at these guys, are these like we're saying, you get Brady playing in 10 Super Bowls, LeBron going to 10 NBA finals. Are these guys anomalies? Is this the future for the athlete playing all these years?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit of both. When you look at people like Brady and LeBron, like Sean and Paris and everyone just said, a lot of it is their work ethic and their consistency, and they take time into making sure they are right and their bodies are right and their minds are right. I remember reading something that LeBron puts in like $1 million a year into preserving his body and making sure he's doing all things physically that he needs to do. So Brady's the same way in that regard, and that is certainly an anomaly. I don't expect every athlete ever to end up doing that, but also I think as the generations go on, if you look at an athlete now compared to one in the 70s or 80s or whatever, it's just a different build and a different mindset even. So I'm sure they won't be the only ones, but definitely the greatness of Brady and a LeBron, but specifically Brady when we're talking about this conversation, it's really unique to see that in someone that's in his 40s playing at the top level of football that you can possibly play. It's really impressive.
Let's switch gears here a little bit. So as we mentioned, this is going to be the first Super Bowl where they're host city. has a team playing in it. And the NFL is really doing something cool where they're having 7,500 vaccinated healthcare workers in attendance for this game, free, totally free. And that's just amazing to me to see that. And, with everything going on in our country, it seems like there's not good news, but this is some great news that's going on with the NFL. Do you guys have any takes on what this means for the NFL and like give your opinion on how great this is to see that?
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see that they're having, they're having about 22,000 total fans, along with including those 7,500 healthcare workers. And I think it's really cool to see them do that as just a great humanitarian initiative. But it is also showing throughout the past few months, obviously when Paris and them were playing in the semifinal, it was just the parents, and then there were a few fans in Hard Rock for the championship. It's slowly showing that we can get back to normal. The other day, I was just watching some Conor McGregor highlights, and we saw a full stadium. Conor walks out, scenes. It's crazy. Super Bowl last year when Tyreek caught that catch, the crowd was going nuts. And it's just slow steps to hopefully we can one day get back there, because that was a insane element of sports. I'm sure athletes like Sean and Paris really missed to an extent.
Yeah, what was that like for you guys? Because I remember I was watching the semifinal game, big play would happen, and it'd just be silent. How crazy was that for you guys?
Well, for me, I haven't played in a stadium of 100,000 just yet, So, so for me, the largest crowd I played in was the All-American game, Since then, it's been just the parents. So, I guess for me, it is sort of a strange feeling at first, because going into it, I'm thinking we make a big play, and you can hear the other sideline, you can hear your coaches. I'm in my mind, when I went in the stadium to watch the games as a recruit, you couldn't do any of that. Everybody's just screaming and jumping around, the band's going, it's none of that at all. So you really don't have that atmosphere. So you have to keep you have to juice yourself up. The sideline, you have to sort of be the fans as well to get that, feeling. So, especially the national championship game, I think that was probably the loudest game. And it sort of felt more like what I thought a college game would be like, even with the couple thousand fans that were there. I was thinking the whole time, imagine if this place was really packed out with Bama fans, Ohio State fans, the Natty game, they're going crazy. You won't be able to hear a thing, So I'm excited to, get closer to that next season. Hopefully we take the right steps so we can get closer to that so I can experience that feeling,
Yeah,
because that was my biggest thing. I was excited. My favorite game going to this last season, I couldn't wait to play at Penn State, because that's why when COVID hit, it hurt me. It hurt me because I wanted to feel a whiteout, because I hear stories where, the O-line, they can't even hear the calls. They're all watching the ball because you can't hear the snap. I wanted to experience something like that, so.
Mr. Whiteout, you want to give your take on this?
Yeah, it's definitely a bummer that we couldn't have the year for fans and for our teams like we really wanted to. And yeah, Paris, I can't even describe to you what a whiteout feels. You just got to play in it, and you will eventually, because I'm sure that we're gonna get back to it at some point. I'm just hoping that I get to one more whiteout in me before I leave, but yeah, it's an experience like none other. And the thing is, like Paris said, it was different. It was, instead of, we played Michigan in my first whiteout last year that I started in. And I think we had 111 or 110 plus thousand. And the first play, Shea Patterson couldn't even get the ball snapped. They had to take a timeout because nobody could hear the clap. Not one person nobody moved when he clapped. So it really is it's a bummer, but at the same time, it makes you appreciate, fans, and it makes you appreciate the environment that college football brings. But yeah, it's definitely was different. When you make a great play, you can literally just hear your parents in the stands, like you're at a little high school, or not even our high school, Jeff. At X, we were still playing in front of a pretty big crowd. I mean, there'd be like 10,000 people there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I felt more like I was back in Little League, like playing at CHCA or something. But
With all this Super Bowl, you got 22,000 people there. Do you guys think, I want to ask Paris and Sean, do you guys think there's going to be some sort of advantage from there being a home Super Bowl game for the Tampa Bay Bucks?
I think there will be. I think that there's always a little bit of an advantage to being at home, like just from the travel perspective. I know that obviously they're probably already traveled down to Tampa Bay, getting adjusted. I'm assuming, it's definitely different in the pros, but for us, when you have to go to a game and you only have that one day to kind of get adjusted, and you're not at your stadium. There are differences for a stadium. In the end, it's still 100 yards long and it's 53 yards wide. So like once you plan, it's not completely different, but there's a lot of things that play into it. Weather, the fans, which will be not as a big of a factor this year, but just kind of the feel too. I mean, when you play in one stadium for a whole season, you kind of get adjusted. So it's always nice to be for me back in Beaver Stadium, where if I knew that we were playing in the biggest game for football for a whole year, like the Super Bowl, and the other team had been there all year, yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be like, all right, we got to catch up a little bit. But I'm sure that also the pros do a really good job. I'm sure they're going to be practicing out there all week, making sure that they're adjusted just as well as Tampa Bay. But I personally think that there's definitely going to be a little bit of an advantage for Tampa Bay.
Harris, let me get your opinion on that, man. Do you think this is going to be an advantage?
Yeah, I do think this is an advantage because, when you're at home, it's a different sort of, you come out the tunnel, it's a different sort of feeling of being comfortable. And to me, the first thing I thought about when I heard that, when I was watching the playoff games and the announcer were talking about it, I was thinking about the national championship game last year between Clemson and LSU, because the game was in New Orleans, right? So for me, I'm thinking that felt like a home game to them because that's like an hour away. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, so for me, I think it's the same situation, but this is literally their home stadium. So it doesn't get much better than that for them.
Yeah, I was going to say the one thing, obviously it's an advantage. It has to be, but the Chiefs got lucky in the, once every 6 years, you're at an away team from the other conference. And this year they actually ended up playing the Bucs on the road. So obviously they won't be as used to it as Tampa Bay would be, but they got pretty lucky that they got some preparation, and it wasn't that long ago either. It was like maybe 6 weeks ago or whatever. So they are probably more prepared than any other AFC team would be.
Chief?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to play a role. I think also it's another accolade on Brady's legacy. We saw the Vikings get really close to hosting a Super Bowl a couple of years ago, but they did not. I think if any of these two teams needed to host the Super Bowl, it is better that it is the Bucs. They probably are slightly lesser talented on paper, but and it sucks that it's in a COVID year, but can't really change that. But it'll be really interesting to see, since this is the second time they've played there, how they adjust. Obviously, last time we saw Tyreek Hill just have an insane first half. That's not going to happen again. So it'll be interesting to see like what it looks different.
So you sure about that?
I mean, there's no way he's going to have 250 yards, like 3 or 4 touchdowns in the first half.
You know who he is, right? That's the cheetah.
I mean, that's just not going to happen. Like, and they
Ben,
were still
who? What? Ben.
The Bucs.
I don't think he knows about the cheetah, Ben. I don't think he knows about it.
Hey, we'll see.
The Bucs still lost that by like what? It was a touchdown or 3. It might have been like 2.
It was 3. It was like 27-24.
Yeah. It was close, but I mean,
Brady the first half. I think it's a completely different game. It's going to be really hard to blow the home team out of the Super Bowl, and I don't think that'll happen. So we'll see.
I don't know if it's going to be a blowout, but I mean, we might as well get to it right now. Who is going to win this game? Ben, I'm going to start with you, man. I think I know who you're going with, but go ahead, give your game pick and give your score.
Of course. So the one thing I'll say, the one statistic I'll pull up is the Chiefs, their deep pass defense, so passes 10 yards or further, they're first in completion percentage, touchdown to interception ratio, and passer rating. So if they can take the deep ball away, I know in the NFC Championship game, Brady had a few deep passes that were the Scotty Miller at the end of the first half, who's apparently faster than Tyreek Hill now, but whatever. The Scotty Miller at the end of the first half, there was one to Godwin and a few things like that. So if the Chiefs defense can take that away, I think that spells a little bit of trouble for Tampa Bay's offense. I'll have to go 34-24 Kansas City. Run it back.
Chief, let me hear yours.
I think the hardest thing Paris and Sean might tell you, some of the hardest things to do in football are obviously win on the road, for example, win in a whiteout game. I think the hardest thing to do is to beat a team twice in the NFL. And probably the second most hardest thing to do is beat Tom Brady twice. I do not think they'll be beating Tom Brady twice. I think Brady will play within himself. I think they'll win 31-28. But I think the biggest game breaker, the biggest thing that'll set them apart is Eric Fisher tore his Achilles. He will not be playing this game. And Devin White and Jason Pierre-Paul will have a field day on that left side. I mean, that's all pro left tackle. They're going to have a field day on that left side, get to Mahomes, get pressure, and, yeah, they're going to make it shake. And Tom Brady will get his 7th title, and he's going to come back and do it again.
Paris, let me get you, bro.
Personally, I'm still not sure. I feel like, again, there's weapons on like both sides. Like you mentioned, like Devin White, and which I just forgot about. He's one of my favorite players to watch on Tampa Bay's team. I think he's just an animal out there. And but I feel like the Chiefs, like their offense has so many weapons. I can't really see Tampa Bay really like slowing them down. That I think in this one, I probably have to take the Chiefs. Like you said, like 31-28. I think that's a good score to have. But yeah, I think the Chiefs have just so many weapons. Like, who's gonna guard Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce? Like, you just have too many weapons out there. Like I like they're not gonna be able to be stopped that easily. Like Tom Brady, he's a good leader. He has a solid offensive line. But I don't think they're gonna be able to keep up with the speed that the Chiefs have.
Good point. Cliff, what's up, bro?
So I mean, it's definitely going to be a great game. I think it's going to be no blowout, that's for sure. But if on paper, I really think that the Chiefs are above this team, like light years almost above this team, just from a talent perspective on offense. Defensively, they're really good. But at the same time, I'll never bet against Tom Brady, especially not in the Super Bowl. And so I personally got to take Tampa Bay. I'm going to take them probably – I'm thinking 38-35, somewhere in that range. It's going to be high scoring, I think. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay just because of Tom Brady.
Man, Ben, what the hell are these guys thinking, man? What the hell are these guys thinking, man? I got Chiefs 35-28. Mahomes going to have a field day. Tyreek's going to run all over him. Golden Boy, Travis Kelce's got at least one of them in him. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got one of them in him. Chiefs. Well, boys, I appreciate y'all so much for coming on the Jefe Sports podcast, man. Everybody, I want y'all to go enjoy the Super Bowl. It's going to be one for the ages, man. I'll see y'all later. I'll see y'all next week with Clark Kellogg. Peace.